Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Janet Brown, and I'm the convener of the Education Committee of the Royal Society of Edinburgh. And I'm very pleased to be chairing this final session of the conference, where we're going to hear from two speakers, and then we'll bring together many of the plenary speakers from throughout the day in a final Q&A. Unfortunately, the Minister for Children and Young People, Claire Hockey, was going to provide a perspective for the Scottish Government today, but she's unwell and is therefore unable to join us. So we wish her a speedy recovery. But I'm very pleased to say that we are, however, joined by Dr Alison Cumming, Director of Early Learning and Childcare for the Scottish Government, who will be speaking about raising our ambitions for early learning and childcare in Scotland. Alison became the Director for Early Learning and Childcare in the Scottish Government in March of 2020, and she joined the ELC team in late 2016 and worked with the sector to develop and deliver the 1140 hours expansion programme. And as we all know, this puts quality at the heart of Scotland's approach to the ELC. Previously, Alison is an accountant by profession and worked in finance and fiscal policy in the Scottish Government before joining ELC. So over to you, Alison. Thank you very much for coming along and speaking at such short notice.
Thank you, Janet. It's a pleasure. I was always planning to be at the conference today. I just hadn't quite expected to be addressing you all, but I pass on the sincere apologies from Claire Hockey and that she's not able to be here today, and I'll pass your best wishes back to her as well. The purpose of this conference, placing the needs of children, their being and belonging at the heart of early learning, is a purpose that's close to the Minister's heart as well as to mine, and represents a key priority for the expansion of early learning and childcare in Scotland. I've really enjoyed and been challenged by the conference sessions today. I'm really grateful to the Royal Society for bringing new perspectives into the debate in Scotland, as well as more familiar voices, because I believe that hearing and understanding these are vital to us making good policy decisions about how we continue to support high quality ELC in Scotland. Unfortunately, I'm not able to participate in the Q&A today, but I'm very open to continuing the discussion and debate beyond this conference, and I look forward to doing so. As I said, children and the quality of their experiences and interactions remain at the heart of our ambitions for early learning and childcare in Scotland. I will talk today about our recent achievements and how we will continue to place children and increasingly their families at the centre of all that we do to realise our ambitions. The Scottish Government wants all of Scotland's children to grow up in a country where they feel loved, safe and respected and able to reach their full potential. This ambition drives our commitment to expanding the funded ELC entitlement, as well as our new policies that are coming for early learning and for school-aged childcare. We all know that universally accessible and high-quality ELC can make a huge difference to children's lives. We've been hearing about that already today. Research, including from colleagues who are around the virtual table at this conference, has shown that children can benefit socially, emotionally, and cognitively by accessing world-class early years education, particularly those children from disadvantaged backgrounds. High-quality ELC helps to provide children with the skills and confidence to carry into their lifelong education and is a cornerstone for closing the poverty-related attainment gap between children from the most and least deprived communities. That is why, since August last year, all 3- and 4-year-olds in Scotland, and those 2-year-olds who need it most, have been able to benefit from the new statutory entitlement to 1140 hours of funded early learning and childcare. This has been backed by significantly increased Scottish Government funding for ELC, which now stands at around £1 billion a year. Unlike other systems, we don't make any distinction between the early learning and the childcare elements. Providers in all sectors work to the same holistic frameworks to provide high quality development and nurturing experiences for our children. We are really proud that Scotland is the only part of the UK to offer the equivalent of 1140 hours to all eligible children, regardless of their parents' working status. And I'm equally proud of how we've prioritised children's outcomes and play-based pedagogical approaches in how we're delivering those 1140 hours, and I'll return to that shortly. But meanwhile, let's reflect on what we have achieved in growing access to funded ELC in recent years. Figures published in October last year by the Improvement Service show that by the end of August 2021, nearly 91,000 children in Scotland were accessing funded ELC, and these numbers will be increasing over the course of the year as more children become eligible. 97% of these children were accessing expanded provision, and 87% were choosing to take up the full 1140 hours on offer. To get to this point has been an enormous undertaking, particularly in the middle of a global pandemic. This is testament to what can be achieved through joint working and a shared vision and values between national and local government and with our other valued partners across the sector. Our local authorities have also made huge strides in developing the infrastructure required for the expansion. The Scottish Government has provided 476 million of capital funding over the last 4 years to refurbish, repurpose and extend existing nursery settings, as well as to establish 160 new build facilities across Scotland. The expansion would not have happened without the combined efforts of the public sector and private third and childminding providers. I know that childminders and PVI providers in particular continue to report real challenges in terms of recruitment, retention and sustainability. And I and the Minister remain committed to continuing to work with the sector to identify and implement solutions to these challenges. At the centre of the expansion, of course, are children and the experiences that they will gain from attending high quality ELC. Through our national standard, that all settings that deliver the funded entitlement, regardless of the sector they belong to, have to meet, and our world-leading curriculum for excellence, local authorities and settings have put quality at the heart of the 1140 programme. Thinking about what children want and need, and ensuring their ELC experience gives them the best possible start in life. There has never been a stronger focus on ensuring that the early learning and childcare experience is of high quality, meets the development needs of our youngest learners, and also prioritises nurture. ELC is an important part of the early level of curriculum for excellence, and play pedagogy is relevant right across the early level, including for children in early primary school. As some of you might have heard more about in other sessions today, Education Scotland's refreshed national practice guidance, Realising the Ambition, Being Me, builds on the premise that our babies and children deserve the very best experiences throughout their learning journey, and we know that this guidance has been well received by the ELC sector. Being Me supports the improvement and quality of ELC by encouraging discussion, self-reflection and questioning about relevant practice in each setting. It makes links between practice, theory and policy guidance to reinforce aspects of high quality provision and the critical role of practitioners. The guidance also provides advice on achieving the highest quality of ELC and early primary provision that will enable our young children to experience and to play their own part in Scotland being the best place in the world to grow up. Although the offer for 3 and 4-year-olds is universal, we have also introduced targeted elements to see how we can best support those children who are living in more challenging circumstances. As well as the targeted 2-year-old offer, which reaches around 1/4 of all 2-year-olds. We've also created 435 graduate level equity and excellence leads who are in post to work directly with children and their families and don't have management responsibilities. As Paul Bradshaw highlighted in our opening session this morning, we know that there is equal access to the highest quality of ELC across all SIMD types of SIMD community, all SIMD quintiles in Scotland, which is something that we want to hold on to and indeed ensure that as many children as possible, regardless of where they live, can access that very highest quality of provision. Also, for those of you who like data, to note that there will be updated figures coming out from the Care Inspectorate within the next couple of weeks on these matters. For me, one of the greatest pleasures of working in ELC has been the opportunity to share in children's experiences and meet with the awesome professionals who support them right across Scotland. And I have to say, I've really missed the opportunity to get out and about and engage directly with colleagues over the last 2 years. The last visit that I enjoyed back in March 20, or even that I was able to undertake, was back in March 2020, and that was to an outdoor nursery in Drumchapel in Glasgow. And this was as part of Scotland hosting the British Irish Council Early Years Work Sector for a 2-day event focused on outdoor learning. Colleagues from right across these islands were rightly impressed with how these children were connecting with nature and developing in the outdoor environment at the very centre of our largest city. The children made it their own environment every day, whatever the weather, and were clearly thriving there. Outdoor learning can improve the quality of our children's ELC experience and plays such an important part in supporting children's well-being and connecting them to nature. Robust evidence and research from around the world tells us that playing, learning, and having fun outdoors helps improve the health and well-being of our children in lots of ways. Those of you who attended Rachel Cooper's workshop session today will have heard from her in much more eloquent and passionate terms than I can convey about all these benefits of outdoor learning. It improves physical health by increasing physical activity and in turn can reduce health inequalities. It promotes mental, social and emotional well-being, building confidence and self-esteem. It supports wider learning by boosting creativity, imagination and understanding. It brings people together, connecting children with their communities. And that's something that's always shone through in visits that I've undertaken, particularly to inner city outdoor learning settings. And outdoor play, of course, helps children develop a lifelong appreciation and understanding of the natural world, which is so important, particularly in these times when children often have less access to outdoor play. We believe that all children in Scotland, wherever they live, whatever their background, whatever their circumstances, have the right to enjoy the essential and special experience of being outdoors every day. That's why in Scotland, outdoor play and learning is embedded in our national standard and an integral everyday part of early learning and childcare. It is our vision that children enjoying our ELC offer should be able to spend at least as much time outdoors as they do indoors. Throughout the expansion programme, we have worked hard to promote and enhance outdoor learning and to fully embed it within the ELC offer. For example, we worked in partnership with Inspiring Scotland to increase outdoor play and learning activities. And when the pandemic hit, we invested in a virtual nature school programme, which supported over 2,000 practitioners and 40,000 children and family members to come together to enjoy quality outdoor experiences. We will continue to do more to support our highly skilled practitioners to help them confidently engage in child-led outdoor pedagogy. Learning from and building on the virtual nature school experience will develop communities of practice to help spread knowledge, understanding and experience of outdoor play and learning across the sector. Of course, we are only in the first full year of implementing the 1140 programme. It's right that we take the time to consolidate this investment and that we will continue to work closely with local government and the sector to realise and embed the benefits of the expansion. We've identified 3 key benefits of the ELC expansion: to improve children's outcomes, to increase parents and carers' opportunities to access work, training or study, and of increasing significance, to improve the well-being of the whole family. We have now set out our ambition to provide funded early learning to all 1- and 2-year-olds, starting in the course of this Parliament with children from low-income households, part of expanding the reach of our early learning and childcare offer. This year, we'll be beginning engagement with families, the early learning sector and academic experts to help us design how the new offer will work in practice, with a big focus on developing an offer that will contribute to supporting the well-being of the whole family. This will form an important part of the Scottish Government's commitment and action to keeping the promise. And to support families further as their children get older, we've committed to expand access to school-age childcare by building a system of wraparound childcare, providing care before and after school and in the holidays. Those on the lowest incomes will pay nothing for this childcare. This offer underlines and demonstrates our determination to tackle child poverty, making an important contribution to removing the barriers that childcare costs present for parents on low incomes, helping them to take up and sustain opportunities for education, training and employment. We also know that childcare needs to be accessible and located close and embedded within their communities. We also want the offer to reduce inequalities in access to a whole range of activities and, importantly, play opportunities round about the school day. We will also be, alongside these development of these commitments, co-designing with you a multi-year workforce strategy to not only support their delivery, but also to ensure that we are supporting the sector that's here now in the right way. We know how important it is that we properly evaluate a major new policy like 1140 to understand what is working and where we need to take action to address any remaining challenges. We will publish an updated strategy in the summer, which will set out how we will monitor and evaluate the impact of the ELC expansion on the sector, children, their families. This strategy will set out our overall approach to gathering the evidence that we need through existing and new sources of data. These will include future phases of the Scottish study of early learning and childcare, which gathered baseline data during 2018 and 2019, and you can find the findings from the baseline data gathering on the Scottish Government website that's already been published. SELC is a cross-sectional and longitudinal study designed to evaluate the impact of the ELC expansion on children's and parents' outcomes. We'll continue to develop the monitoring and evaluation strategy in partnership with members of our advisory group on the evaluation, many of whom I know and suspect are here with us today. We do, of course, know that delivery of the ELC expansion has been affected, and indeed the delivery of early learning and childcare in all our lives, by the global pandemic. Staff working in childcare continue to show exceptional resilience, supporting our young children and their families through a very difficult period. And I'd like to take the opportunity today to say a heartfelt thank you on behalf of Scottish Government to each and every one of them. We can now see data emerging that confirms what our instincts have been telling us, that the pandemic's had a significant impact on children's behaviours, development, well-being, play, and interactions. We know, for example, from the recently published third round of the COVID-19 Early Years Resilience and Impact Survey that around 1/5 of parents now report that the pandemic has impacted negatively on their child's speech and language development. We will and we must act in the face of this evidence. As outlined in the recently published Scottish Government COVID-19 Strategic Framework Update, we'll prioritise action to deal with the impact of COVID on children and families, working with partners across the childcare sector, local government and wider society. We're also taking forward a range of actions to support the sustainability of the childcare sector, and further information was provided earlier this week on our new childcare sector Omicron Impacts Fund, which will make a further £9.8 million available to provide one-off grants to the childcare sector this financial year. I do not underestimate the challenges that lie ahead as we recover from the COVID impacts of the past 2 years, and as we seek to realise the benefits of the 1140 expansion programme, benefits for children, for their parents and carers, and for their whole families. Everyone attending today understands the importance of high quality and accessible early learning and childcare, and its role in securing the best possible future for Scotland's children. The Scottish Government's ambition for high quality ELC experiences remains undimmed. We know there are still challenges to face, but I do believe that there's also a lot to celebrate in what the ELC sector in Scotland has achieved and what were the high quality experiences that we continue to deliver for children. And I very much look forward to us continuing to work together to realise this ambition. And I'm really grateful to the Royal Society for putting the conference on today and for the ability to contribute on behalf of the Scottish Government. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Alison. And you've highlighted an awful lot of what's going on in Scotland in the early years environment. And I think it's commendable that the Scottish Government sees it as such an important area. I think, as you've heard a lot during the course of today, the fact that you're also increasingly thinking about the role of the family and the support for families is also something that I think will be very beneficial in the future. So thank you very much for giving us that update, and again, give our best wishes to the Minister. Thank you. Thank you.